Eh? What do you think, boys? Standing desk? Yeah, it's good. I got this little thing. It's like a thing, I don't know. Edit, trade, work, tunes, pictures. Oh yeah! You know why we're really here. It's to see this guy. What are you doing out here, bud? You don't want to be in the office with me? Huh? He's just an old man. You know what I mean? Stay here. Hold down the fort, okay? Good job. What's going on, boys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing well. I want to drive the E36 so bad. So bad, but there are two things that I have to do. One, don't really have to do, but I'm going to. And the other one, I kind of need to do. So, I think that's what I'm going to try and do in today's video. First thing I need to do is pull the CAN bus, the CAN controller. Now, if you don't know what this is, it's kind of like how I was explained. It's kind of like a router for the car's systems. It helps the car speak to other computers, I guess. I'm still foggy on what it is, but basically my air conditioning doesn't work. And in Texas right now, that is a must, unless you are big boy. I don't know how you would not work with air conditioning. But the gentleman who makes the CAN bus, because this obviously wasn't made for this car, so that isn't working. I have to pull that. It's really simple. It's just tucked in where the DME is. So I'm gonna pull that out, send it back to him overnight. He's gonna do some computer magic and send it back to me, and hopefully it will work. Second thing is, so beautiful intake, beautiful strut tower brace. I love everything about this, but it is slightly touching, and I don't want. I even put little teeny spacers in between there, like little spacers. But one of the things I recently learned is BimmerWorld's mounts fit or lower the engine just a little bit. Like I'm talking like a little bit. So I'm going to install those to see if that makes a difference. And again, it's just changing out the engine mounts. It shouldn't be all that difficult. But first things first, I have to get this thing jacked up in the air and get it ready to. But I'm gonna snag that CAN bus and run that down to the post office, overnight it to him, and then go from there. So I'm not really sure how the flow of this video will be, but I'm doing stuff on the car and I want to fill you guys in. And then I got the Haltech ECU for the S2000 build. So that is ready. I may install the radiator, probably not in this video, but I may install the radiator before we do the supercharger install, just so I have it in there and it's good to go. So let's go. All right, so if you're not familiar with where I was talking about, the CAN bus just lives back in that little port. It's just a couple of Phillips head screws for mine. If you have factory stuff, there will be a few more Phillips screws to plug in there. I may throw more in there at some point, I don't know, but I have a lot more wires and stuff going into mine than a normal car. So anyway, what you do is you unscrew this cap and mine will just puke out a bunch of wires, and the CAN bus is in there. I will unplug it and we will ship that off. See what I mean? Blah. Just puked it all out. But here is where we stash the E35 fuel management system as well. So if you don't know, yeah, I'm able to run E85. Since I have a CSL2 now, I probably won't do that. But anyway, there's the CAN bus, and that is just plugged in to, where'd it go? Right here. Come here. Come here. Right here. And it's labeled nicely, CAN controller. Anyway, so now I'm gonna ship this back. All right, so I got the CAN controller, the CAN bus, shipped out to the guy who's gonna fix it. Now what I'm going to do, actually two things I'm going to do. One is do those engine mounts, so that means I gotta get the car jacked up. And two, I'm pretty stoked on these. I don't know your guys' thoughts on this, but I got tinted corners, and I've always wanted those because the fronts are, I went full Euro lighting on this car, but the fronts are tinted. I think these tinted would be really nice. Those, side markers, they kind of look tinted anyway, but then if you come around back, I just feel like tinted in the front will just help a lot. So I'm gonna throw those on. That is super easy install. But the first thing I'm gonna do is get this thing jacked up so I can diagnose how to actually take out the engine mounts. From what I'm told, it's a fairly easy process, but still, I will have to take off this strut tower brace and then support the engine from the bottom side, which means probably a 2x4 on the oil pan. So I'm gonna get this thing up in the air so we can get started on this. All right, she's fully jacked, jacked up. And man, it's funny, I took the strut tower bar off. It looks naked without it. It really does. It looks weird, bizarre. I gotta dust that off, make sure it doesn't leave a mark. Anyway, so now what I'm going to do is look at how much room I have, because what I need to do is loosen the engine mounts and support the engine with the jack stand below and a 2x4 on the oil pan. And I have to be able to jack the car or the engine up a little bit to be able to take out the mount. So I got to get underneath and see how much room I actually have. All right, so like I said, took the strut tower brace off, which is right there. Also, I don't know if you guys know, I had an X brace under the car, which I had to take off to be able to get the jack to support the oil pan, which I have a 2x4 in between. So there's a 2x4 there to separate the load a little bit or disperse the load a little bit. What I'm gonna do now is try and just loosen the top nuts on the engine mounts to see, because I will have to raise the motor roughly. I mean, here are the new engine mounts, so I'm gonna have to raise it at least the length of this stud, which, I mean, that's 1.5 inches, maybe an inch. I just don't know if I have the space for that. I don't know. We'll see. All right, boys. So I actually spoke to Brett over at M Sport Parts, who helps me with all the E36 stuff. He suggested, or he said, don't try to do both sides at the same time. He said to start with one side, jack it up, pull the mount, then to go to the other side, or replace the mount, then go to the other side and do the other thing, do the other mount. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna see if I have enough room to raise this up, pull the mount down there, which you can't really see, but pull the mount and go from there. I'll let you guys know how it goes. All right, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I don't like not having the engine mount in, but it's really, really hard to see. But here's the BimmerWorld mount and the other mount. I can't really do it with one hand, but they do definitely sit a little lower. I'll tape measure the other one when I put this mount back in. So give me a second, let me put one back in and we'll go from there. If you look at these side by side, and I line up basically the bottom where the engine, just the very bottom, I mean, the right side is OEM, come on, and the left side is BimmerWorld. It definitely looks like the OEM is taller. Not substantially, but enough to make a difference. I would definitely say that's taller. So, I got the driver's side installed. Now I'm going to work on the passenger side. Honestly, it wasn't too bad. It was a little weird, but it wasn't too bad. Alright, so I did the driver's side already. I think I told you all that. One of the things for you S54 swapped E36 guys that you're going to have to watch out for when you're doing the passenger side, you have to change how the dipstick comes up, and right here's about where it sits. You do it one side at a time, like I said, so when you are raising the passenger side, this is going to get pinched, so you're going to have to move that out of the way. And then also, I got to see how close this gets to there. It should be fine, I think. It's fine as it is normally, but when I start rotating that side up more, it may cause me a problem. So right now what I'm going to do, this is easy. This is loose. It's basically just zip tied to a secure location. But I'm going to basically clip that zip tie. That'll give me some room, and then slowly start jacking that side up. All right, so bad news. There's more than enough room with the dipstick, but this horn hits, so I'm going to have to take it off. Luckily, I can take it off fairly easily with just these 4 Allen head screws, but I'd rather not, but I'm gonna have to. All right, so got the horn or whatever it is, the tube taken off of the intake. Now I can jack the motor up more. I'm speaking fast because I already have the motor jacked up, so I can pull that engine mount. So I'm gonna do that while it's jacked up. All right, boys, update. Both mounts are now in, and I can start to put the intake back together and then put the strut tower brace back together, and everything should be good. Overall, I mean, it's really not that tough of a job. The part that was hardest probably and most annoying was just dealing with the carbon intake and the lack of room over there. And then when I jack up the passenger side, the intake part of that hits the fender well. So just kind of made it a little more intrusive than anyone else will have to deal with. But overall, it's not that bad of a job at all. So yeah, now it's just time to undo everything I just did and get this guy back on the ground and see if it made any difference at all. God, I hope it did. Oh boy. I'm not sure if I've given an update on this. We're back. We're good. But we're not good. I mean, we are. It still rubs. I mean, I guess it's not as bad as it was. And I have that piece of plastic under there. That's not going anywhere. I don't know. I mean, worst case scenario, I have some stiff motor mounts in there, but apparently the BimmerWorlds aren't too bad and they break in after a while. So I'm curious to see how that is, because I mean, ultimately, if I can stop the engine from rotating too much, then that won't be that big a problem. But I've had race mounts in a car before, and I don't think these are actually like race mounts. They're not solid, I think. They're performance mounts. I'm anticipating it to be a little bit stiffer than it was. Man, I've had some race mounts in there. I've had solid mounts, and it is just loud in the car. It's a lot. So we'll see what this is like. Worst case scenario, I don't like it, and I do this all over again. So the last thing I'm really waiting on to give this thing a rip is the CAN controller, which the guy has to, he has it, he's gonna fix it, send it back. I think I could drive it right now, but I think I wouldn't be able to have, I wouldn't have AC, which I didn't have anyway, but I don't think I would have a brain fart. I don't think I would have a brain. I wouldn't have my cluster. Gosh, dang, it's been a day. So I'm gonna hold off to drive it, unless I get it down and I get inspired, but I may start it up later. But for right now, I think that's gonna do it. I'm gonna get this thing off jack stands, which is a pain in itself, and get it back on the ground. So, if you're new to the channel, guys, smash that subscribe, because I have so much coming up with this and the S2000, and I still have, like, look at this. That's E92 parts, and more coming. So, smash that subscribe. Next time you guys see a video, the S2000 could be supercharged. This may be going on the dyno. Lots of cool stuff coming up. I hope you guys are doing well. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.